I believe I can let this life pass me by in the blink of an eye.
November of 2014 for Creed singer Scott Stapp was a difficult and challenging period in his life. He was living in his car, sometimes hotels, claiming he was being swindled out of funds, all while his family frantically searched for him. Those events were the result of his abuse of drugs and alcohol and untreated bipolar disorder. With the help of unwavering support from his wife Jacqueline and treatment in a dual diagnostic facility, he was able to finally conquer his demons and get healthy and back on the right track. We sat down last week with Scott and asked him what he thinks when he looks back on that unstable time in his life.
Looking back on that experience really has given me a lot of clarity in kind of coming to grips with, my bipolar diagnosis. I think that in hindsight, this journey with bipolar really started with me in 1998. But it took until that incident before it could even be diagnosed, before it was just I was battling with bouts of depression. But in hindsight, I realized that that's when the original onset of the disease hit. And so really looking back and reflecting on what happened just kind of helps me further accept the reality of my life and help facilitate me to continue the changes that I've had to make in my life to deal with this health issue. And so it's really been a great catalyst for change in my life.
Stapp talked about what he has to do to keep himself from slipping back and keeping healthy.
Made a permanent change in my life in nearly every area, whether I'm at home or on the road. My diet, my sleep, my exercise, a commitment to a recovery program. All of that goes with me wherever I go. And that's part of the lifestyle changes that are necessary to deal with the health issue that I have.
Scott has announced a solo tour, but because of his chosen profession, he endures a lot of triggers and situations on the road that could potentially lead to unhealthy choices. How does he plan on dealing with hitting the road this year?
I just surround myself with a bubble of people who are like-minded. It's a sober tour. My bandmates all live a sober lifestyle. And so it's just what I'm around. I get to create my own world backstage. And so everything is conducive to the lifestyle that I'm living, man, and that's a sober one. And at this point in my journey, it's something that I take one day at a time. It's something that I work at every day, and something I never take for granted. But also something that the further you go on this, the more free you are as a human being just to live a normal life. It's just something that you don't do anymore.
Scott Stapp is touring in support of his Proof of Life solo album, and he said that the show will of course feature some of the tunes he wrote and recorded with Creed. And speaking of Creed, will there be a reconciliation? Check back as we'll have the latest.